Hello students, welcome to the English class. Let us continue with the lesson. Earlier we had read and discussed till page number 39 in the previous video, and today we are going to discuss the chapter, the short story from page number 40. So let us see. I had means of getting information and therefore it was very natural that he should apply to me. So Sherlock Holmes clarified this to John Garrideb that Nathan Garrideb have thought Sherlock Holmes better person and a person who can help him in such a situation, therefore he has approached him. Our visitor's angry face gradually cleared. So then John Garrideb became normal. Well, that puts it different, said he. When I went to see him this morning and he told me he has sent for a detective, I just asked for your address and came right away. Then John Garrideb said that today in the morning when I met Nathan Garrideb, then he told me about that he has asked for some detective help. Therefore, I took your address and I am here. I don't want police butting into a private matter, but if you are content just to help us find the man, there can be no harm in that. John Garrideb also continued by saying that he doesn't want any kind of interference of police, but if Sherlock Holmes can help him in resolving their problem, then he doesn't have any objection in that. Well, that is just how it stands, said Holmes. And now, sir, since you are here, we had best have a clear account from your own lips. My friend here knows nothing of the details. Then Sherlock Holmes says that I won't include any police queries and police people in this matter. Sure. But here he also asked John that if you yourself is here, then you better disclose the complete matter by yourself in front of my friend Watson, because he doesn't know anything regarding the matter. Mr. Garrideb surveyed me with not too friendly a gaze. Need he know? He asked. We usually work together. Then Mr. Garrideb looked towards Watson in a very strange manner that why he should tell all matter to him except Sherlock Holmes. Then he also asked from Holmes that is it compulsory to tell everything to Watson? Then Sherlock Holmes tells that he means Watson work along with Sherlock Holmes. Therefore, it is compulsory to disclose the complete matter in front of him also. Well, there's no reason it should be kept a secret. Then he said, then there is no reason that I should hide anything. I will give you the facts as short as I can make them. Then John said that I will tell you everything in a short manner, as short as I can tell. If you came from Kansas, I would not need to explain to you who Alexander Hamilton Garrideb was. Then he said, if you have come from Kansas, then there is no need to tell that who was Alexander Hamilton Garrideb, because he was a famous personality there. He made his money in real estate and afterwards in the wheat pit at Chicago, but he spent it in buying up as much land as he would make one of your counties. Then he said that person has earned a lot in the real estate business. Then he just invested that money in buying the land to make a big county. County means a land place, a big land place lying along the Arkansas River west of Fort Dodge. And where he has purchased the land, that location is being given. The location is Arkansas River west of Fort Dodge. It's grazing land and lumberland and Arabic land. So here 3 types of land Alexander Hamilton Gary Deb has purchased. First one is the lumberland. Lumberland is the place from where the wood timber can be gained. And second one is the grazing land. Grazing land is the grassland. And third one is the Arabic land. Arabic land is the land from where the oil can be recovered and oil can get. And mineralized land. Mineralized land means from where the minerals can get. And just every sort of land that brings dollars to the man that owns it. Then John also tells that all type of benefit related to lands he was having, because he was having all sort of land from where he can have the grasslands, the oil lands, the mineral lands and the lumberland even. Means all type of beneficiary lands he was having. Therefore he had become a rich person. He had no kith nor kin, or if he had, means he didn't have any relation with, I have never heard of it, means I didn't know him personally, but he took a kind of pride in the queerness of his name. But Alexander Hamilton Gary Deb was having some sort of proud on his unique name. Therefore, what happened? That was what brought us together. And therefore, as John was also having Gary Deb's surname and Alexander Hamilton was also having the same surname. Therefore, for that purpose, for the similarity in surname, both of them came together. I was in the law at Topeka, and one day I had a visit from the old man, and he was tickled to death to meet another man with his own name. As we all know that John was a counselor at law, basically he was a lawyer, and he visited Topeka, and then he met Alexander Hamilton Gary Deb, and Alexander was quite eager to meet the person who was similar to his surname. Okay, it was his pet fad, means it was his, we can say it was his queerness, means he was eager to meet such kind of person, and he was dead set to find out if there were any more Gary Debs in the world, and he just want to go to any length to find such a person who is having the same surname. Find me another, said he. I told him I was a busy man and could not spend my life hiking round the world in search of Gary Debs. Then when Alexander asked John to search another person of the same name, Gary Deb, then John clarifies him that he is a quite busy man, as we all know that he was a lawyer. So he cannot spare his time, he cannot waste his time in such type of waste searchings. Nonetheless, said he, that is just what you will do if things pan out as I planned them. I thought he was joking, but there was a powerful lot of meaning in the words, as I was soon to discover. So here he said that Alexander said to John that you will do this work, means you are going to search Gary Debs if the things will move just like as I planned. So John is saying that yes, he was right at that time when he said so. I just take it in a funny way, but now what I am doing, I am just searching the same name. Now let us move towards the next page, page number 41. For he died within a year of saying them, and he left a will behind him. Means after saying all this, within a year he died. Who died? Alexander Hamilton Gary Deb died. And he left a will. We all know will, in which he hand over his property after his death to somebody. It was the queerest will that has ever been filled in the state of Kansas. John Gary Deb said that it was a quite different will which we have never come across, or even in the whole state of Kansas, no one has ever heard of such kind of will. What was strange in it? Let us see. His property was divided into 3 parts. So Alexander's property, we all know he had a huge property, and that property was divided into 3 parts. And let us see among whom these 3 parts were divided. I was to have one on condition that I found 2 Garidabs who would share the remainder. Then I can share the part if I will find the similar 2 more Garidabs, then we will become 3 Garidabs, and we can share the property of Alexander Hamilton Garrideb. It's $5 million for each if it is a cent, but we can't lay a finger on it until we all 3 stand in a row. John says that it is just $5 million for a single person if I will get my share, but that share I can get only when all 3 of us will come together, and then only that share can be received by me. It was so big a chance that I just let my legal practice slide, and I set forth looking for Garidabs. And it was a very golden chance. Therefore, John left his law work and started searching the Garidabs. There is not one in the United States, but he didn't find any Garidab in the United States, and he went through it. Sir, I went through it, sir, with a fine-toothed comb, and never a Garidab could I catch. And he also said that I went from there, I searched him along very carefully, but I didn't find any other Garidab. Then I tried the old country. Then he moved towards the old country. Sure enough, there was the name in the London telephone directory. Then he said that I found one Garidab in the London telephone directory. Therefore, I moved towards to meet him. I went after him 2 days ago. Then I met him 2 days ago and explained the whole matter to him and make him understand the complete matter, that you can have a big amount of money if we both can search one more Garidab. Okay. Now let us see. But he is alone man like myself. Then John said that as I am alone, that Garidab too is alone. The second Garidab is an Garidab, that is Nathan Garidab. And it says 3 adult men in a will, but the will requires 3 adult Garidabs. Here only 2 Garidabs they have got. One is John and second one is Nathan Garidab, and third Garidab, Alexander Hamilton Garidab, was dead, and therefore they have to search someone else who also have the similar name. Okay, but with some women relations, that Garidab is having some relatives, but they all are women, not a men, but no men. It says 3 adult men in the will, but the will requires 3 adult men, not the women. So you see, we still have a vacancy. So therefore we still want one more Garidab, and if you can help to fill it, we will be very ready to pay your charges. Then John says that if you will search the third Garidab for us to Sherlock Holmes, then we will be very happy to pay your fees. Well, Watson, said Holmes with a smile, I said it was rather whimsical, did I not? Then Holmes asked to Watson that it is quite strange. I should have thought that your obvious way was to advertise in the agony columns of the papers. Then Holmes says that if you want to search one more Garidab, then you could have given the advertisement for the search in the newspaper. In which column? In the agony column. Agony column means in which the obituary and certain kind of informations are being given. I have done that, Mr. Holmes. No replies. He said, I have already given advertisement in the newspaper, but he didn't get any reply. Dear me, well, it is certainly a most curious little problem. I may take a glance at it in my leisure. Then he said, Sherlock Holmes said to John that, okay, then I will definitely search the third Gary Dab for you, but that work I will do in my leisure time, means in my free time. By the way, it is curious that you should have come from Topeka. Then Sherlock Holmes said to John that it is quite strange that you have come from Topeka. I used to have a correspondent. He is dead now. Old Dr. Leicester Starr, who was mayor in 1890. Then Sherlock Holmes also told him that in Topeka I was having a correspondent friend. Correspondent, you all know, the reporters, but now he is dead, and his name was Dr. Leicester Starr, and he was mayor in 1890 at Topeka. Good old Dr. Starr, said our visitor. His name is still honored. Well, Mr. Holmes, I suppose all we can do is to report to you and let you know how we progress. Then John says that yes, he knew him. He knew Dr. Leicester Starr, and he is still being respected by the. And he also says that whatever I know, whatever we have done, because he has searched Nathan Gary Dab, that John says that all I have told you, whatever progress I have done in this. Now I want the help from you. I reckon you will hear within a day or two. With this assurance, our American bowed and departed. Then John Gary Dab, American, who is American here? John Gary Dab is American. So he said that he just bowed in front of us and moved from there, and by saying that I hope, Mr. Holmes, that you will search the third Gary Dab for us soon. Holmes had lit his pipe and he sat for some time with a curious smile upon his face. Well, I asked at last, I am wondering, Watson, just wondering. At what? Holmes took his pipe from his lips. I was wondering, Watson, what on earth could be the object of this man in telling us such a rigmarole of lies. So when John left from there, then Sherlock Holmes Sherlock Holmes just smiled, and then Watson asked him, what happened? Then Sherlock Holmes said that I am just wondering, I am quite surprised. Then Watson asked him that on what thing you are quite surprised. Then Sherlock Holmes take out pipe from his lips and said that why John Gary Dab has said so much lies from us. And he said that I was wondering, Watson, what on earth could be the object of this man in telling us such a rigmarole of lies. Means what is the reason behind John's too much of lies? I nearly asked him so. Means he said I haven't asked him much thing. Then also he has told us too many lies. Okay, so for there are times when the brutal frontal attack is the best policy, but I judged it better to let him think that he had fooled us. So here the author is saying, Watson is saying that Sherlock Holmes could have stopped him for speaking lies, but he didn't. He didn't do so because this time he think that John Gary Dab must think that he had befooled them. Here is a man with an English coat frayed at the elbow and trousers bagged at the knee with a ears wear. And yet by this document and by his own account he is provincial American lately landed in London. So through his appearance, Watson, it is quite clear that he belongs to America. Then why he said that later on he has come from here? Earlier he was living in England only. There have been no advertisements in the agony columns. You know that I miss nothing there. They are my favorite cover for putting up a bird, and I would never have overlooked such a cock pheasant as that. So Sherlock Holmes also clarifies this to Watson that there was no such advertisement which John had referred related to any agony. Okay, because Sherlock Holmes tells him that you know that I go through all such kind of news very minutely because they give me always some or the other kind of clues related to the victims. I never knew as Dr. Lysander Starr of Topeka. Touch him where you would, he was false. I think the fellow is really an American, but he has worn his accent smooth with years of London. What is his game then, and what motive lies behind this prosperous search for Gary Gibbs? So Sherlock Holmes says that he means John Gary Depp lives in America, means he belongs to London only and he pretend to be an American. So he just want to reason behind that. So Holmes was curious to know the reason behind John Gary Depp's search of the third Gary Depp. It's worth our attention. Preposterous search for Gary Depp. So now let us move forward. It's worth our attention for granting that the man is a rascal. He is certainly a complex and ingenious one. We must now find out if our other correspondent is a fraud also. Just ring him up, Watson. So Sherlock Holmes just declared that John Gary Depp is finally a very cruel person, very cunning and fraud kind of person. So now he just asked Watson that you just call another Gary Depp, means Nathan Gary Depp, whether let us check whether he too was a fraud or really he was saying the truth. I did so and heard a thin quavering voice at the other end of the line. So Watson, when called Nathan Gary Depp, he was having the quavering voice and he said, yes, I am Mr. Nathan Gary Depp. Is Mr. Holmes there? And he just made clear that who is speaking? Mr. Holmes. I should very much like to have a word with Mr. Holmes. My friend took the instrument and I heard the usual syncopated dialogue. So here Watson said कि when Nathan Gary Depp said that he is interested in talking to Mr. Holmes, then Mr. Holmes took the receiver and Watson said that I could hear only one voice, means Holmes' voice, that whatever he says from that means half of the dialogues I could hear because he could not hear Mr. Nathan Gary Depp's conversation. Yes, he has been here. I understand that you don't know him. How long? Only 2 days? Yes. Of course, it is a most captivating prospect. Will you be at home this evening? I suppose your namesake will not be there. Very good. We will come then, for I would rather have a chat without him. Dr. Watson will come with me. I understood from your note that you don't go out often. Well, we shall be round about 6. You need not mention it to the American lawyer. Very good. Goodbye. So this all is being said by Holmes, whatever Watson has heard. And he has fixed a meeting with Nathan Gary Depp and he just said that I along with Watson will come to you to meet you at 6 in the evening, and he also requested him not to tell about this meeting to the American lawyer, means to the John Gary Depp. Okay. It was twilight of a lovely spring evening, and even Little Rider Street, one of the smaller offshoots from the Edgware Road, within a stone cast of old Tyburn tree of evil memory, looked golden and wonderful in the slanting rays of the setting sun, the particular house to which we were directed. So they just went there at 6. So it was the time of sun setting. Therefore, twilight was there and spring season was there. And Watson is saying that we just moved towards the street. The name of the street was Edgware Road and Rider Street. Okay. And now Watson is talking about the house. of Mr. Nathan Garrideb. And he said that it was a large, old-fashioned, early Georgian edifice with a fat brick face broken only by two deep bay windows on the ground floor. It was on this ground floor that our client lived, and indeed the low windows proved to be the front of the huge room in which he spent his waking hours. Holmes pointed as we passed to the small brass plate which bore the curious name. So when we entered towards that house, we moved towards that house. So we noticed that it was a Georgian style building, and from front it was brick faced, means it was built of bricks. And he also expressed that Nathan Garrideb spent his most of the time, means waking hours, he has said, means most of the time in that room only. That was a huge room. And while entering inside the room, Holmes pointed out towards the nameplate, that brass plate on which the curious name means Nathan Garrideb, was written over it. Let us see. Up some years, Watson, he remarked, indicating its discolored surface. It's his real name anyhow, and that is something to note. So the paint of the nameplate was worn off. Therefore, Holmes directed towards the nameplate and said to Watson that it is the old one, and it seems that Nathan Garrideb is living here for a long time. The house had a common stair, and there were a number of names painted in the hall, some indicating offices, some private chambers. It was not a collection of residential flats, but rather the abode of Bohemian bachelors. Our client opened the door for us himself and apologized by saying that the woman in charge left at 4 o'clock. So when they entered in the building, they used the common stairs, and also there were many rooms were there. Some were indicating offices, some were residential flats, and it is means there such kind of people lives who don't care about the world. Therefore it has been written here that Bohemian bachelors were there. Then when they knocked the door of Nathan Garrideb's room, Nathan Garrideb himself opened the door, and he told that the housemaid of Mr. Nathan Garrideb leaves at 4 o'clock. Therefore he himself is opening the door. Mr. Nathan Garrideb proved to be a very tall, loose-jointed, round-backed person, gaunt and bald, some 60 odd years of age. He had a cadaverous face with the dull red skin of a man to whom exercise was unknown. Large round spectacles and a small projecting goat's beard combined with his stooping attitude to give him an expression of peering curiosity. The general effect, however, was amiable though eccentric. So means the appearance, here Watson has talked about the appearance of Mr. Nathan Garrideb, that he was having the strange appearance, and but he was quite peaceful kind of person, and he was thin and tall. He was having the stooping attitude, and he used to wear the goat's beard and all, means his outward appearance has been discussed here. The room was as curious as its occupant, means as Watson has said that he was a strange kind of person. In the same manner, the room too was the strange, because it looked like a small museum. It was both broad and deep, with cupboards and cabinets all around, crowded with specimens, geological and anatomical. Cases of butterflies and moths flanked each side of the entrance. A large table in the center was littered with all sort of debris, means all sort of the pieces of wood and metals were spread over that center table, while the tall brass tube of a powerful microscope bristled up amongst them. As I glanced round, I was surprised at the universality of the man's interest. So when Watson just had a glance of the room, he just got surprised that what sort of interest this man was having. Here was a case of ancient coins. There was the cabinet of flint instruments. Flint instruments means the shining stones. Behind his central table was a large cupboard of fossil bones. Above was a line of plaster skulls with some names of Neanderthal, Hadberg, Cromgan printed beneath them. It was clear that he was a student of many subjects, means he was interested in so many kind of things. As he stood in front of us, he had a piece of chamois leather. He had the piece of leather in his right hand, and with which he was polishing a coin. He was shining the coin at that time. So this is all we have read till now. The meeting of Sherlock Holmes with Nathan Gary Depp. First meeting. It was the first meeting. Earlier, Mr. Nathan Gary Depp had only written the letter to the Holmes regarding the search of third Gary Depp. But now, first time Holmes and Watson had met Nathan Gary Depp. In the next video, we will continue with the lesson so that you will understand it well. Thank you.